Stanford's got a couple of guys out because of that targeting rule. You've dealt with that this year. Kind of a two-part question. Is it more of a challenge for coaches now trying to coach kids to be not that aggressive and tackle the right way? And the other part of that is it affecting the effectiveness of tackling? Are guys missing tackles or not wrapping on it because they're so conscious of that head?
I think that's both of those questions are tough to answer. It's tough. I don't think you can speak about it a lot, tackling low and doing all these things the correct way. We've been doing that for years, but when you're in the game, it's tough. It's tough. I don't know anyone out there can teach exactly how they want you to tackle them. I mean, it's tough. It's a boom boom thing out there. It's full speed, and if anybody can stop in the middle of that and get a little lower or do some of those things, they're pretty talented. I think it's something you stress, and you got to continue to stress, and to make sure guys understand that one, you just can't go helmet to helmet, and you can't have any kind of forcible contact to the head for sure. So you got to continue to stress those things, and you can do the halt tackle and all that, but I think even in the halt tackle, you got to be in a certain situation or a certain angle coming in to tackle someone in order to do that. And you don't always have those angles, so it's tough. We're trying to make the game safe, and we're still trying to be physical and still trying to go fast, and that's tough. But we just, like anything else, you just keep working on it and hope we all continue to get better and we make the right calls.
Stanford's typically had a really good defense. What have you seen from them, and I guess maybe who stands out of what makes they do things so well?
They're well coached. They're rarely out of position. Those guys are always in position to make plays. I know the Reed kid in the secondary is very, very good. He's a good football player, and I think we all know it runs in the family. And he shows it on the football field. He's really good. The nose tackle's a good football player. They have some long corners. Good football team, just well coached, and it's going to take our A game.
Another game with 10-plus penalties. I know you mentioned before that it wasn't too big of an issue because there's not one guy that's habitually getting all the penalties, but as you continue to get double-digit penalties and lead the nation in penalties, is it a concern?
I think when you have double-digit penalties, it's always a concern, and you always work on it, but we can't continue to get false starts. Those are things that we can control, and we can't continue to get those. I think some of those calls are judgmental, and that's just the way it goes, and some of them are the right calls, so those are things we deal with. We're working on them. We're working to get better. The ones that really gets at you, the ones that we can control, and that's on us to make sure we work at that every single day to try to get better at. But I think you were at that game too, and you kind of got the answer to that one too.
Willie, with Justin being out, what have you noticed him sort of do from a leadership standpoint to sort of help guys like Braxton and Taylor, with their development, him having a little bit more experience than them?
Justin's been around. He's been there to talk to Braxton, and if Braxton have any question, he can ask. He was good for me on Saturday, just throwing out some suggestions. What do you think about this, Coach? And what do you think about that? And that's great to see. I know for me, just hearing him say that, and for a guy to be injured and still locked into the game and what's going on was very impressive.
A lot of coaches say how you practice is how you play. How was the practices leading up to the Washington State game, and how have the players responded yesterday? Is it similar to after the Arizona State loss?
Practice was great. I thought we had a great week of practice. I was really excited about going to the game because of how we practice. And that's one thing I can say about our football team is that our guys have learned how to practice. Even after a loss, they come back the next day and have their mind right and ready to get to work to make the correction. So yesterday's practice was good. Last week practice was good. We just didn't execute like we should have. And when you down so many players, you got to play your A game. You can't have the mistakes that we had in that football game and expect to beat a ranked football team. Coming in here, we got to play our A game. We can't make mistakes. We can't have the penalties. We can't have the turnovers. We got to play our A game if we expect to beat teams like that when we're down like we are. Oh, he got one more. There we go.
Willie, I know you probably just met Gary Anderson this year and never got to coach against him, but just your thoughts on Oregon State parting company with their coach at this point in the season?
To be honest with you, I really don't have a thought. I've been locked into Stanford, and I just found out about that coming in here, and I got a chance to meet Coach Anderson and get to know him a little more during our head coaches meeting. Met him before when I was at South Florida and we played Wisconsin, so good football coach. Again, I don't know what's going on there, but good football coach, and wish him and his family nothing but the best.